Hello, welcome back to the Union Pacific Railroad Geneva Subdivision in N-Scale. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for episode 14 of season 2020. This is a second video in 2 days, the second operations video. This one is on manifest train MNPPR. That's a manifest train from North Platte, Nebraska to the Proviso Yard in Illinois. This manifest train will have a stop in Rochelle, Illinois at the interchange track, and the operations are going to be a little bit different today than what I've ever done before, and I'm definitely looking for some feedback on the operations that you'll be seeing at the interchange yard, and would like to know your thoughts on whether or not it seems prototypical to you. Now, I'm talking about a manifest train, and you may be wondering why we're looking at a coal train. Well, we do have the manifest train that is going in the same direction and is actually passing up the slow-moving coal train. So the manifest train MNPPR is headed up by these three locomotives, a scale trains Tier 4, and then a couple of Kato SD70s. The slow-moving coal train is slowly coming to a stop while the manifest train is passing it. The Geneva Subdivision is a left-hand running double-track main line, but in this video you'll see that in many cases it still ends up with a lot of right-hand running. This manifest train is on the right-hand side because it is passing up the slow-moving coal train. As you can see, the coal train is slowly coming to a stop and will be stopped at milepost 78, while the manifest train will continue on the right-hand side towards Rochelle, Illinois. Now the coal train is stopped, and the manifest train could take a crossover here to get back onto the left-hand side, but it is not doing so for a couple of reasons. One is because it has operations to do off of track 2, which is the track that it's on. The interchange track in Rochelle connects up to track 2, so in order for it to do its operations in Rochelle, the train needs to be on track 2. So instead of crossing over to track 1 and be on the left-hand side, it is remaining on track 2 so that it can do its switching in Rochelle at the interchange track. The second reason is because there's a double stack that's heading westbound, and it is occupying track 1. So here you have a case of two trains doing right-hand running. The manifest train is on the right-hand side due to the coal train that it passed and because of operations in Rochelle. The double stack train is on the right-hand side because of the manifest train and being able to get around the manifest train and continue on westward. In the distance you can see the stopped double stack train, and then the manifest train MNPPR is traveling past Global 3. From Global 3 it will go ahead and head towards Rochelle proper, and will come to a stop just short of the interchange track where it has operations to do. As you can see, it's beginning to slow down so that it can come to a stop. If you saw the previous video that was posted yesterday on the BNSF switcher in Rochelle, you could see the cars being set out on the interchange track for this particular train. And now this train, the MNPPR, has 3 cars. It's the first 3 cars of the train that need to be dropped off at the interchange track. And then we will also need to pick up the 3 cars that were set out by the BNSF switcher at the interchange track. So our train is coming to a stop just west of the interchange track. And you can see them. The interchange track is right there. You have actually 4 cars, 2 box cars and 2 cement cars that need to be picked up in Rochelle. Before we get to that though, with the manifest train clear through Franklin Grove, the double stack train can now cross over and continue on westward. It's crossing over, of course, because the coal train that came to a stop is sitting there. You can kind of see its nose there in the lower left-hand corner. The coal train has come to a stop on track 1, and now the double stack train is able to cross over onto track 2 and continue westward on the left-hand side of the double track main line. So that first set of double stack cars are from Cottle, a 5-unit Maxi 1, I think, and then you have 3 Atlas well cars. This is a Maxi 4 3-unit Pacer train, the second Cottle Maxi 4 Pacer stack train. This 5-unit Wells cars is by Intermountain. They hold 48-foot car containers. Here we have another Maxi 1, a Maxi 4 by Cottle, another 5-well Maxi 1, and then finally a Cottle Maxi 4. Those hold 53-foot containers, and then a single well car blowing up the rear with the end of train device. All right, now for operations in Rochelle. What I've done in the past in this situation is to have the locomotives do a complete runaround. So it would pull through milepost 78 here, go on to track 1, and then go all the way to the rear of the train and then switch the yard from the rear of the train. But we're doing something different this time. We are going ahead and we're pulling into the yard, the interchange yard, with the locomotives and the 3 cars that need to be set out. I have generally had a rule that the main locomotives cannot come into the interchange yard, but I do have video, which you can see in the corner here, of an actual prototype train coming into this yard. Although it is backing in, not pulling through. I've never seen it actually do this where it pulls through. But to me, it kind of makes sense because it really, as you'll see, simplifies and shortens the operations here. So we're going ahead and pulling through on one of the tracks. We're uncoupling the 3 cars that we're setting out. We're going to go ahead and continue to pull through. Go ahead and throw this turnout. And then we're going to back up to the cars that we're needing to pick up, the 2 cement cars and the 2 box cars. Again, this is the interchange track, interchange yard in Rochelle. shared by the BNSF and the Union Pacific. The warehouse there is Del Monte. The highway in the back is Highway 38 that goes out towards Ashton and Franklin Grove. So as we couple up to these 4 cars that we need to pick up, we see a coal train going through. And now we'll go ahead and push the cars back onto the main so that we can connect back up to the rest of our train. All right, here we are again, just west of the interchange yard. We have the 4 cars that we're picking up from the interchange track, and we're coupling back up to our train, and we are basically now done. As you can see, it's a very simple operation. Did not take much time at all. Definitely a lot less time and effort compared to doing a complete run around the entire train. My only question is how prototypical it is to have the locomotives pull all the way through the interchange yard, as was done there. So I'd definitely be interested in your opinions. If you are someone who's knowledgeable about prototypical operations, sometimes we'll get some actual Union Pacific engineers or maybe some other railroad engineers and give us some. I'd be interested in whatever feedback you might have on that, this particular operations, and specifically if it's prototypical. Now, I usually wait about 10 to 15 minutes before I pull out to give the train a time to air up the air brakes and so forth, but since it's a video, I'm going ahead and continuing on. And we're heading eastbound now towards Proviso as we meet the double stack train again. Some people had requested in the comments that they like to see the entire manifest of the train, see all the cars. So I'm going to try and do that a little bit more in this particular video. We're now heading past the railroad park. This is an area that just recently worked on and completed. The railroad park as well as the power plant, which you really can't see too much of right now. It's just there to the right. And now we're pulling out of Rochelle, coming around the bend and heading eastward away from Rochelle and across the Rock River coming up. As you see, the train is still right-hand running, but it will need to get over to the left-hand, which it's doing now. It's taking the crossover and finally getting to the left-hand side as it moves through Wheaton, Illinois. It's crossing over here mainly just to get back to the left-hand side and be more consistent with the other trains. but also needs to be on the left-hand side because as it continues eastward, it eventually will need to take a crossover to get into the proviso yard. Looks like we have a yellow signal. Now it's yellow instead of green because the next signal after this one will be a diverging signal to diverge and take the crossover into the proviso yard. So we're now on the outskirts of Wheaton and heading into Elmhurst, which you can see in the distance. This is a 32-car train, and yet it still is able to completely fit with room left over on a straightaway. So you can see the locomotives way in the distance, they're still going straight, and then you have finally the last car of the train coming up right here. So the whole train is on the main line, is on a straightaway, even though it's a 32-car train with 3 locomotives. Here we're heading through Elmhurst, Illinois, past the metro station. And we're switching over to drone view here as we head towards the proviso yard. That's the Mannheim Road overpass. As you see, we're slowing down in anticipation of coming into the yard. I'm trying to get at an angle so you can see it going onto the crossover. So it's on track 1 right now, and it is taking the crossover now to go into the yard lead. And then from the yard lead, it could do another crossover if it wanted to go to the classification yard, but it's heading instead to the arrival track, which it is taking track 1 of their arrival departure tracks as a manifest train, a westbound manifest train goes by. You have the engine facilities there on the left-hand side, and then the car shops right there close to the camera. That is a Kansas City Champion Chiefs mug you see there. All right, so it is on track 1 of 2 arrival departure tracks. It's serving as a arrival track right now. That's the proviso classification yard. And we are continuing to slow down as we come to a stop here in proviso yard, which is the termination of this train, the MNPPR manifest train from North Platte, Nebraska to proviso yard here in Illinois. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Always remember to enjoy the greatest hobby in the world, model railroading, especially in N-scale. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Stay safe. Take care.